everybody, I am Jared Ross, the GeneaVlogger, and I'm here at IAJGS 2019 with another amazing special guest. Can I please have you introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi there, I'm Elias Savada from Bethesda, Maryland. I run the Motion Picture Information Service, and I'm a very avid genealogist. Have been doing my family tree for 35 years.
Now, the Motion Picture Information Service is quite an interesting business that you have. Could you tell us a little bit about the history and what you do with that?
Sure. When I left school, I graduated in '72, not with a film degree, they didn't have it back then, but I was fascinated by a course at school called Flicks for Kicks, Introduction to Cinema. And I was researching, I was watching a film called Freaks, 1932 horror film, and got fascinated by it. So I ended up doing a lot of research up at the Eastman House in Rochester, a well-known film archive. And I, somehow or other, being in the right place at the right time, I found opportunity to join the American Film Institute. So I moved down to Washington in '72 and worked for them off and on for 14 years doing research on films from anywhere from the 1893 period when they first started up through the end of the 60s. So that moved me at one point over to a copyright law firm where I had about 4 or 5 years of doing research for that. And the Motion Picture Information Service is basically doing copyright research for clients about old movies, TV shows, books, plays, songs, whatever they need research, mostly for documentary filmmakers or film archives are my big clients too, for anyone who needs information on whether a work is still protected or not.
Yeah, very cool. Now, in my own family, I have history in film, and it's a direct interest because my ancestors worked in it. And I've learned a lot just by looking into their occupation in film.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about, the types of things you can find by doing that?
Well, occasionally I'll come across, there's a branch of my family. My great-grandmother was a Koletsky, and she was from a New Haven branch. She had 4 siblings. They all settled in New Haven. She got married, moved to Brooklyn. But in the course of doing that research, I found branches, some of which I connected to by blood, some of which I'm not sure about, in upstate New York. So specifically Syracuse, where I found one of the branches of the Koletskys became the Kellett or the Callet. There's any number of variations of that, and they have a theater chain, had a theater chain up there. Other times I'll find relatives who are directors, not big directors, but directors. And I always like schmoozing with people about this. And then more recently, I'm getting into craft beer, and I found a third cousin who's also building a brewery in Upper Maryland. So it really gets to be a lot of fun, whether I'm dealing with movies, genealogy, or beer. My 3 vices.
That's a great combination.
My 3 passions, I guess.
That's a great combination.
Yes. I love doing data research. And I love methodology. I love how people can look at something and play with it. I've done transcriptions for the Italian genealogy group for when they were doing the indexing to the New York City birth, death, and marriages, mostly marriages. I did some naturalizations there. It's tedious work, but it's very enjoyable for the result that I see. Right now, I took a whole bunch of digitized. I took about 500 marriage certificates. After last year's conference, I went over to the LDS and I pulled 500 New York City marriage certificates, which I'm still transcribing and putting onto my tree at Ancestry. So I'm getting a lot of feedback from, why do you have my great-grandmother's maiden name? I said, because I have your grandmother's marriage certificate. It's probably not a blood relation, but I do a lot of tangential tree work is what I call it. When I'm stuck on mine, I just love putting all the pieces together. And, you see, I'm a sucker for an interesting name.
Yeah.
That in 1998, I was researching the name Plappinger, and a woman from San Diego contacted me and said, you're my cousin. And of course, it was on my wife's side. So, yeah, we're not cousins, but we're cousins. So, and I actually met her a few times. And I built up a tree of Plappingers. It turns out to be there's two brothers. And one had 4 children, one had 7 children. One of the children from one side married children.
Okay.
Yeah, endogamy, it's going in.
Yeah.
And I've researched them and contacted. It was the first real family project I did. I wrote it up in, I think it was either I think it was in Avotano that I wrote it up a couple years later. You know, I love doing this sort of research. Again, one of the projects I worked on at AFI, 8 years researching movies made between 1893 and 1910. I told them going in it would be 15 years of work, and they laid me off after 8, so they still published it as a work in progress, but I had a great time doing that stuff, and it came out as a rather large 2-volume set. So, and it's online now, so I'm happy.
Very cool. Now, if anyone wants to go and find out more about the Motion Picture Information Service, where can they go?
I have a page on Facebook, MPIS Online. They can find me just as Elias Savada on Facebook. You know, just Google me. I don't hide stuff.
All out in the open.
And it's all out there. There's a lot of transparency. I don't believe in hiding my trees or anything like that. They can certainly find my tree on Ancestry, and a lot of people do. And it's on MyHeritage and elsewhere. So,
awesome. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Bye.